I am Kanisha Grayson, founder and CEO of The Art of Applying. And today I have one of my superstar clients here to share her story. Her name is Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, Kanisha.
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate you. I just saw on LinkedIn that you got a promotion at work. So, first, congratulations on that. And then,
Thank
secondly,
you.
tell us what we are celebrating today in terms of grad school.
Yeah, well, today we are celebrating the end of a 3-year journey. It's been a long journey, and the beginning of a new one. My acceptance to a top MBA program. I was admitted to Georgetown, Duke with a $90,000 scholarship, and Washington Foster with a full consortium scholarship.
Wow,
Yeah.
fantastic. And Cynthia, was that all the schools you applied to, or did you apply to more and these are the ones that worked out?
Well, I applied to 8 schools.
Hmm.
These were the ones that admitted me. University of Chicago, they waitlisted me.
Okay.
University of Texas, McCombs, they waitlisted me. And Yale, UCLA, and USC, they rejected me. But
Okay, got it. Well, those are some amazing results. We have a full ride at University of Washington Foster,
yeah,
$90,000. Did you say Duke?
yeah, Duke.
Oh, fantastic. And then lastly, an acceptance at Georgetown, but no money so far.
Yeah, no money so far.
Okay, so far though. Okay, good. Wow.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Yeah, I'm
Wow,
really
wow,
excited.
wow. Oh, I love it. So you said, Cynthia, that this was a 3-year journey, the end of a 3-year journey, the beginning of another journey. So, first of all, just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, your applicant profile. I think
Yeah.
people watching and listening, they would love to know your age,
Mhm.
ethnicity, maybe how you grew up. Um, let's see where you went to college, what you studied, your GPA, your test
Yeah.
scores, the nitty gritty, but whatever you feel
Yeah.
comfortable sharing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I am an immigrant here in the U.S. I was born and raised in Mexico City, but I've been living here for it's been 5 years now in Denver, Colorado. Um, so my background is in human resources. So that's what I do for work right now. So I feel like I wasn't necessarily the most attractive candidate for
Mm,
business school because I had this idea in my head that business school was for maybe like people who come from consulting or finance, banking, and that type of thing. So I thought, well, I think that's just not me. And so, yeah, I come from a human resources background. In terms of my age, I'm 29 years old now. Again, I'm from Mexico. My GPA, so since I went to school in Mexico, we don't have a scale, like zero,
hmm.
4, but it was 93 out of 100.
Okay, so quite
Like,
good.
yeah, so it was like 3.7 when I try to compare
Hmm.
it to the American style. So that was good. But one thing, though, that was very, or that I struggled with a lot was my standardized tests. I took the GRE 3 times and the
Hmm.
GMAT 3 times.
Oh
So,
my goodness, tell us the scores as if you can
yeah,
remember them.
they were never good, even after 6 tests. So my last score for the GRE was 307. Um,
Okay.
and my GMAT, the highest I got was 550. So it was
Okay.
really like, it wasn't really like even close to, oh, average. It
Hmm.
was just not good. Um,
Okay, so your results are phenomenal. Outstanding for a 550 GMAT score. You said 307
GRE, yeah,
GRE.
yeah,
Wow. And international student.
yeah.
Wow. So I really want to spend a good amount of your interview today talking about your struggle with the test, what advice you would give to other people who are struggling with the test, and what actually happened to your application process when it came to struggling with the test. So, first, I
Yeah.
want us to rewind to 3 years ago. What was your life like in the application process like before we started working together? What was hard and what wasn't working?
Yeah, so I started thinking about business school, I think almost 4 years ago,
Okay.
because I knew that I wanted to, have an advanced degree. That's
Mhm.
something that I knew I wanted to have. Even, I don't know, call it, I don't know, like just this desire of having an advanced degree. So I started to think about that 4 years ago, and I took the GRE actually in 2017. That went terribly wrong, and it was really, really bad. And so that kind of like made me feel like, okay, maybe this is not for me. And the other thing is that I really didn't know how to approach these applications. So I'm an international student, so all my application process for college was in Mexico. So I had no idea how to navigate this in the US because it is a completely different process.
Mhm.
So different. So I was a little bit lost there. So I knew I needed help, and also like a support system, because
Mhm.
no one in my family, I'm like the first person in my family to go to college. And so no one in my family really knew how important this was or the process. So having a support system was for me also very important. So yeah, at the beginning of this journey, I didn't like, my test was bad. Like I didn't know how to write an essay. The other thing, of course, is that I'm not a native English speaker. So it was difficult for me to write an essay in my second language.
Absolutely.
It's just difficult, you just don't find the right words. You don't know enough words maybe that you'd like to use to express how you feel, to tell your story. So yeah, I think those were the main struggles.
Absolutely. And one correction I wanted to make is I referred to you as an international student, but you're born in Mexico City, grew up in Mexico City, but you're actually a permanent resident of the US and you applied as a domestic student.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, understood. Just wanted to make that correction because I had
Yeah.
said, and an international student.
Yeah.
Okay, and so how were you feeling those 4 years ago or 3 years ago when you found us? How did you find the art of applying and what inspired you to reach out?
Yeah, so I was feeling, of course, overwhelmed because I didn't know how to start or where to start. And I found you guys actually through a blog post, because I was looking for advice on how to ask my supervisor for a letter of recommendation, because that was my, I don't know, one of my biggest fears, because I was like, okay, I don't want to lose my job, right? If I ask, I don't want them to think like, oh, she's leaving. But I also need a strong letter of recommendation to get into grad school. And so I think you, Kenisha, you wrote a blog post on that, and I really liked it. And so I was like, oh, who is this girl? And that's how I discovered the art of applying. Had this just a call
Mhm.
with a member of your team, and we went from there.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And so, what was your experience like on the breakthrough call? What did you think it was going to be like? And then what was it actually like?
Well, actually, I didn't really know what to expect. I just knew that I needed help. I needed probably professional help, because again, no one in my family like had a background in applying to college even. So I needed help in this support system. So I thought it was going to be, so the breakthrough call, I thought it was just going to be like a very salesy type of thing. It really wasn't. Actually, I think that one of the things that made me work with you guys was that I think, Kanisha, you gave me like a brand name or something like that.
Yeah.
Gave me a brand, and that made me feel empowered in a way.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, if someone else thinks that I can do this, I can.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I remember that was on your assessment call when you were already a client. I still remember you are la talentosa.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
That's great. And isn't your, let me see, you just with your what am I trying to say? With your new promotion, you are the manager of
Yeah.
talent services.
Yeah.
What? Indeed, you're a la
Yeah.
talentosa.
La
Oh,
talentosa. Yeah.
wonderful. Okay, I love that. And so, So then you started working with us. Was it scary to make the leap to decide to work with us? What fears, doubts, or concerns did you have? Because it's, it's a lot of money, the tuition for the program. Talk to us about how you were thinking about that investment.
Yeah, definitely. It was scary, especially because I didn't have that amount of money. But I knew that I needed help. I knew that if I didn't get help, I was just not going to get into any US school. I did apply to European programs and I was admitted, but the process is different.
Mm.
But I knew that, okay, at the end of the day, I am a US resident. I want to build those connections here, like have access to opportunities here. So I knew that I needed help for US programs. So definitely I was scared about the money, but also, like now that we live in this virtual world where there are so many companies online, you don't really know what to believe. You don't know if something is, if it's a real company or if people are just going to take your money. So that was another fear that I had. But, again, after talking with you, talking with members of your team and seeing actually watching some of these interviews and videos, that just made me feel like, okay, yeah, I need help and I'm going to get it.
Absolutely. I love it. I need help and I'm going to get it. So let's talk about your test and the struggles with the test. I know that you basically, for everybody watching, Cynthia's story is not a straight line of perfect success. So she actually did the application accelerator, went through the whole program. And then did you actually apply or did you not apply to schools?
No, I didn't apply when I was a member of a client of this
Mhm.
accelerator program. I didn't end up applying because I never reached that target score. And so I applied the next year, well, this year.
Yeah. And so what Cynthia is sharing is she invested in the program. She came, joined, started doing the work, and got really, really, really bogged down with the test and then didn't even apply. But you did. And then you graduated from the program and got no result. And then I reached back out to you and was like, Cynthia, we getting us a result. And you were like, well, is this a trick? And I'm like, it's not a trick. Let's try again. And
Yeah.
now we work together again. You worked with the team and now these are your results. So Cynthia, talk to us about, did you even get a better score or are the same
Oh
test
my
scores?
gosh.
So Cynthia, what does that mean about your test score in the first year?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think I was obsessed with my score. I've been, again, I took the GRE the first time in 2017. So for almost 4 years, I've been trying to get the perfect score. And I never got there. I took the GRE, then I switched to the GMAT, failed terribly. Then I even took the GMAT in a different country.
Mm.
Took the GRE in person, I took it online. So I took 6 tests and I never got even closer, like close to my target score, let alone my ideal score. So I was very obsessed with that. And going back, I honestly, of course, I regret that because I feel like I wasted a lot of time and energy, money, and effort in like these tests that, yes, they are important, but it's only a component of your whole application. And I guess that no matter how many times I heard that, during, your calls with you or with other organizations, like to me, it was just like, no, I have to get a perfect score or I'm not going to get a scholarship or I'm not going to be admitted. But well, it turns out it never happened. And here we are. So I think it was better for me to maybe focus on other parts of my applications where I was a stronger candidate. I'm not good at standardized tests. Like now, like that's a reality and that's fine. But I'm really good at, like interviews because I'm a recruiter after all. So I'm
Absolutely.
interviews. So yeah, I think that that part of just becoming obsessed with the test scores was something I regret, but I'm glad it's over. And yeah.
I'm glad it's over too. And thank you for sharing your story. I think your story is so impactful and demonstrates like what can happen if we overly focus on the test. You didn't even apply. And
Yeah.
then you graduated from the program, and I was just checking through our client files, and I'm like, what happened to Cynthia? Reached out and was like, Cynthia, come back. Let's do this. And we did it, right? And that's
Yeah.
fantastic. And so, what would you say to somebody who just had their breakthrough call and says, no, I'm going to focus on the test and getting a strong test score, and then I will apply to my schools?
No, I would say, because that's probably the mistake that I made. I would say no, like focus on it's only a part of your application, but don't spend too much time on that piece, because then you're wasting valuable time, your precious time in like other parts of your applications where you can actually inspire the admissions committee. You cannot necessarily inspire with a test score. Maybe you're like are one more candidate who, oh wow, that's impressive, but that's not inspiring. If you focus on your essays, you can tell your story, you can inspire a reader, and I think that's what you should be doing, instead of focusing too much on the test scores, because that's what I did. Like I let one application cycle go, and well, I'm glad I applied again. That I applied in the first place, but yeah, I would say don't focus on that too much, because you're wasting time.
And so when do people know enough is enough? What do you think is enough? What would have been enough for you? When should you have kind of moved on from the test and focusing on other parts of your application?
That's a good question, because I took the test so many times thinking, okay, next time I'm going to have a great score. I applied to the second round of applications, which is the deadline is January. Well, I was still taking the test in December. So,
Mhm.
and like no essays, no nothing. So I would say enough is enough when you realize that you haven't done anything in terms of the other parts of your application. Maybe like give yourself a couple of months to really focus on other things, because I think I applied. Thankfully, I made it through the deadline, but it was like the day of the deadline for final submission, like 11:59 p.m. So
Yeah.
I wasted a lot of time in just like the test scores, and it didn't really make a difference. Like I could have submitted my first try, and it would have been the same as my sixth. So
Oh, really? Your first test taking was basically you were
the
within the
same,
similar. Okay,
yeah.
that was my experience too, Cynthia. I only took the GMAT once, but I studied so hard, and then I made a mistake and only gave myself time to take it once, and it was like a week before the deadline, and my test score was the exact same score I got on day 0 of studying. Right? My diagnostic test
Yeah,
score was the same score that I got on test day. So,
yeah,
everybody listening and watching, you want to give yourself enough time to take the test more than
yeah.
once, but you don't want to say, I'm going to get this great score and then I'll work on the rest of my
Mhm.
applications, because that really doesn't happen for most people. Most
Yeah.
people really need to be working on their essays, networking, taking supplemental coursework, doing informational sessions with schools. All those things need to be happening in parallel.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow, wow, wow. So let's see. Let's talk about what have you learned about yourself, or how have you grown as a result of working with the art of applying and going through the application process?
Yeah, I think that just the fact that you have a community, that the art of applying has a community of people going through the same process, it's really helpful, because again, in my family, no one I mean, my mom didn't even go to high school. So
Mhm.
in my family, no one really has that experience. And my friends, most of my network is in Mexico. So like they don't, like the process is not the same.
Mhm.
I didn't really have that support system. So I think that that is one thing that is really important, like being going through the same process with people, and not feeling like you're alone. I think that's
Mhm.
the art of applying. It will be very helpful for you if especially if you're lost like I was. And so the thing that I have learned about me during this process is that just how resilient I can be. I mean, after I think maybe I could have taken a seventh test if I had the time and energy. But you know, like I was like on a mission. I was like, okay, I need to make this happen. I need to make this happen, and I never let that go. So I really learned that I'm resilient, and you know that hard work pays off. And don't get me wrong, it was a lot of tears when I got every time I got a bad test result. I would cry. I was calling my mom saying like, "Mom, again." So definitely, I think going through this process, I've just realized how resilient and perseverant I am. And I
Absolutely.
think that's going to be something that's going to be very helpful during grad school, because I don't know, I feel like I've always thought of myself as someone who's maybe like weak or you
Hmm.
but going through this and then being admitted, I'm like, oh, okay, no, like if other people are seeing what I'm doing and admit me and give me money, and you know, it's because I'm worth something. Like I'm a leader, I can do this. So
You're definitely a leader, definitely accomplished. And I completely understand how that external validation is really helpful because you'd been getting a lot of negative external validate,
yeah.
yeah, disvalidation or whatever with the
Yeah,
test score. If the test means something, right? If does this mean I'm not smart or does this mean I'm not cut out for business school? And what I always
exactly.
try and emphasize to you and the other clients is no, it just means you're not good at taking that test. That's it.
Yeah.
It just means the test wasn't designed for you to succeed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So, okay. And then what's next for you in your application process?
well, now I have to decide now between, you know, like Duke, Foster, uh, Georgetown. Well, they didn't give me any money,
Well,
so
but you know that we can help you with that, right? So
yeah.
have you worked with your consultant or anything on submitting a financial aid appeal?
Yeah, I'm writing a letter, and I already sent a letter to Duke. Nothing from there yet, but yeah. So now that's the next step, just deciding where to go, which is a good problem to have, right? I
Absolutely.
never thought that I was going to be in this position, which is funny because, you know, like now that I am the one giving my will share my experience with you, it's so, I mean, it's a great feeling because I was 2 years ago someone who was looking for help, watching a video like this one and being like, oh, that's never going to be me, like no one's going to give me a full ride scholarship, and it happened. And so I just want to say, yeah, it can happen if you work for it. So definitely, it is an exciting time. So I just need to decide now.
That's right. I'm so proud of you. Ah, I love it. And so we're just, the world is your oyster, and that's just
Yeah.
exactly the way it's supposed to be. And I'm so happy for you. So now what's going to open up in your life or your career? What changes now? What does this mean about your future now that you've been admitted to these great schools that if you want to, you get to go to business school for free?
Yeah. Oh. Um, well, I definitely think so. One of the main reasons why I applied to business schools in the first place was because, again, I didn't grow up here in the States. So most of my network is in Mexico. When I moved here, I was an immigrant looking for a job. Like it took me like 7 months to find an entry-level role. And so I didn't know anyone, just my husband. And so I wanted to go to business school for, number one, build my network in my new home. But number two, like really improve and develop those leadership skills. I know that especially now that I'm becoming a manager, right? Like I think that business school is going to help me a lot, just to be ready for scenarios that I'm not used to, dealing with. So I think that's going to be a great thing. And especially being at a top university, I mean, what else can I ask for? I'm definitely excited. And that's the next step.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So, Cynthia, you filled out your intake form to work with us May 23rd, 2019. And in it, you said that when you got into your dream schools, you were going to tell your husband, your mom, your dad, and your sister. What happened when you told them, and how have you been celebrating?
Oh my gosh. Well, just remembering, it makes me want to cry. But because my parents have been there all along, right? And they have seen me fail. They have seen me cry over the phone after a test. My husband has been seeing me every weekend study for the GMAT, applying, having interviews, getting ready, and at the same time, working a full-time job. So just being able to share that with them was a dream come true, because all I wanted to, was to make them feel proud of me, and that happened. And my dad was just so proud. He, of course, like as soon as we hung up, he told my grandpa, my uncle, like I was getting text messages from the rest of my family. And I was like, what? So just that feeling was amazing. And yeah, I'm just really excited that I was able to share finally some good news with them after years of trying.
Years of hard work and commitment and dedication.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay. And so let's see. Is there anything else you want to share? Anything you want to say to, let's say, other applicants from Mexico, or anything you might want to say to people with really low GMAT or GRE scores? Just any last words of encouragement?
Yeah, definitely. I think, guys, you can do this. I thought I was not going to be able to do this. I thought, oh my gosh, I can't write an essay. My scores are horrible. This is not going to happen. And when I didn't apply when I was supposed to apply last year, I just felt so bad. It was very well, upsetting, of course, but more than anything, I just felt like I was disappointed of myself. And so I would say, even when you have those thoughts, keep going, keep working on your essay. Like, okay, if you're tired of studying for the GMAT, GRE, take a break and work on something else. But just like keep going. Don't stop. Don't let an exam or a test or a GPA stop you. Don't let that happen, because the fact that you're going through this process, that you wanted this in the first place, it talks about your personality, and it talks a lot about you. And so if you want this to be a reality, you can make it happen.
Beautiful. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing
of
your
course.
story, Cynthia. You've got me all lit up for the day. You have made my day. I'm so happy that you shared your story. And I love that it's not perfect. I love that it has like some, rocky parts to it. And just your persistence and tenacity has paid off. And just well done. Bravo. We'll talk offline about asking Georgetown for some money.
Yeah.
And I'm just so proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Tanisha.